The grizzly bear does not arrive with noise, yet its presence causes the wild to slow down. Beneath its heavy stride lies a strength capable of shifting the balance of any encounter. In the world of predators, it does not need to compete. Simply by standing there, order is established. And when the grizzly bear enters this story, every eye turns toward it. In Alaska, as daylight steadily shortens and food sources become entirely seasonal, the grizzly bear's internal clock begins its countdown. It enters the most critical survival phase of the year, hyperphagia, the period of constant feeding to store energy for the approaching winter. This survival pressure is most clearly seen at Brooks Falls. Here, sockeye salmon expend every remaining ounce of strength to clear rock ledges nearly 3 feet high, fighting strong currents to complete their life cycle. This final journey unintentionally turns them into an ideal food source. At the falls alone, a single salmon season can sustain more than 50 grizzly bears, from large adults to young cubs, all dependent on this brief migration window. Within the rushing water, rapid strikes and claws nearly 4 inches long allow the bears to catch fish with remarkable precision. A fully grown grizzly can consume up to 100,000 calories in less than a week, an amount of energy equal to hundreds of human meals. As autumn advances, the rhythm shifts. The salmon weaken after their final journey, their silver scales fading into deep red, a clear sign that the cycle is nearing its end. The grizzlies no longer need intense effort. They wade through shallow water only a few inches deep, collecting what remains in the current. This fat and protein-rich nutrition is quickly converted into a thick layer of fat, up to 5 inches deep beneath the skin. Not just energy, but a safeguard against the brutal Alaskan winter, where temperatures can drop to minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit. When the bears leave the riverbanks, what remains of the salmon continues to support birds, insects, and the riverside ecosystem. A reminder that each hunt shapes not only individual survival, but the balance of the northern wilderness itself. Summer in the interior of North America stretches the grasslands endlessly, yet abundance does not guarantee safety. Prolonged heat forces elk herds across the plains to break into smaller groups, moving constantly between sparse grazing areas in search of food and water. Among them stands a fully grown bull elk, weighing around 700 pounds and nearly 5 feet tall, distinguished by a broad, multi-branched rack reaching up to 4 feet long. An emblem of strength, but also an open challenge to any predator. As the herd's alertness begins to fade, the encounter unfolds. A familiar tactic is used to disrupt the elk formation through sudden appearances. In that moment, a younger individual falls out of rhythm and is quickly separated from the group's protection. The energy gained is immediate, but for the grizzly bear, it is not yet enough. Concealed along the forest's edge, the predator shifts toward a bolder objective, a full-grown adult. Rather than pursuing blindly across the open plain, the grizzly patiently steers the target toward unfavorable ground. Familiar escape routes slowly close off, guiding the elk into water nearly 3 feet deep, where agility is sharply reduced. At a narrow stream or shallow river crossing, the confrontation reaches its peak. The elk struggles to maintain balance, driving forceful charges, but the grizzly's superior weight and endurance steadily take control of the space. After several minutes of intense resistance, the bear moves in close and gains full control. The reward exceeds 100,000 calories, enough for the grizzly bear to build the fat reserves needed for the harsh winter ahead. It guards the carcass from scavengers, covers it with soil for storage, and feeds gradually over many days. Across the open plains, this stands as proof that strength alone is only a requirement. Strategy and the ability to use terrain ultimately decide who remains standing. Within the vast taiga wilderness, the grizzly bear is not merely an 800-pound mass of raw muscle, but a quiet and calculating predator. It reads every signal of the forest, uses the direction of the wind to conceal its scent, and patiently waits along migration trails where deer herds often pause after long journeys. When a brief opening appears, the stillness is instantly broken. The massive body unleashes its strength, accelerating up to 35 miles per hour and surging forward like a force of muscle aimed at the prey. The grizzly does not rely on extended chases. Instead, it spreads panic, breaking the herd apart and forcing weaker individuals or young to reveal themselves. Even without a clear visual, its keen sense of smell allows the bear to detect prey from miles away. Within the tangled maze of fallen trees in the taiga, the grizzly turns the terrain into an advantage. A single mistimed moment is enough for a decisive strike to conclude the hunt, and the cycle of survival continues under the enduring rules of the forest. Grizzly bears bury their kills beneath soil and decaying leaves to protect vital energy reserves. Yet the scent still travels through the cold air, drawing in other predators. The wolf pack does not rush in head-on. It spreads out in a wide arc, keeping a safe distance, moving constantly, and delivering quick nips to the hind legs to wear the opponent down. The grizzly turns, lowers its stance, and remains ready to respond. Most of these standoffs last for tens of minutes without a clear outcome. When risk outweighs reward, the pack withdraws through subtle signals. This is a contest of endurance, where if the balance of numbers exceeds roughly 3-1, the bear may be forced to give ground. Even so, against a fully grown male grizzly weighing over 600 pounds, wolves usually require a far greater advantage to alter the situation. In the end, The one that remains is not always the strongest, but the most patient, because in the wild, energy and time are weapons as well. Across the vast grasslands of Yellowstone, North American bison stand like living fortresses. Each individual weighs over 2,000 pounds, with massive shoulder muscles and horns nearly 2 feet long. Strength and defensive power that make them formidable opponents in the wild. Against such collective force, the grizzly bear rarely chooses direct confrontation. Instead, it moves quietly alongside the herd, keeping a safe distance and waiting. In this kind of hunt, patience becomes the primary weapon. Then the ground begins to tremble. A full-grown bison detects the threat and charges at nearly 35 miles per hour. The grizzly immediately pulls back to avoid a head-on clash. Yet the true objective is achieved. Confusion spreads through the herd, and the slowest calf is separated from the protective circle. Moments later, the mother bison turns back in anger, delivering powerful kicks. Even so, the outcome is already set. The encounter ends before the balance can shift, and the young calf becomes the reward for a predator that knows how to wait. And when fortune continues to favor the patient hunter, an aging bison weakened by exhaustion and falling behind can quickly become a critical source of energy, allowing the grizzly bear to maintain its condition as a harsh season draws closer. The grizzly bear stands as a symbol of North America's wild strength. Yet its greatest threat often comes from its own kind. With the arrival of another grizzly, the balance of survival can shift instantly. In resource-rich areas, conflict often begins in silence. Two individuals face one another at a distance of just 20 feet, under air chilled to around 40 degrees Fahrenheit. There are no thunderous roars, only slow circling steps, and the display of massive muscle, power capable of overpowering a full-grown moose. This is not a contest of speed, but a test of resolve. The one that hesitates first loses access to valuable food. During the breeding season, these confrontations carry even greater meaning. The struggle is no longer only about food, but also about mating rights. Heavy breathing, ground-shaking steps, and unbroken eye contact are used to measure strength, experience, and willingness to take risk. When boundaries are crossed, the standoff can escalate within seconds and end just as quickly. One bear withdraws, yielding territory, food, or breeding opportunity to the one that remains. In the world of grizzly bears, victory is not defined by overpowering another. It lies in avoiding unnecessary loss. The true measure of strength is not the force of a single strike, but the ability to endure the long winter ahead. And sometimes, stepping away from today's conflict is the only way to remain present tomorrow. No roaring, only pack discipline. Wolves enter the hunt like a cold blade. In the forest's shadow, their strength lies in steadily tightening pressure, driving the prey toward exhaustion. They cut off escape routes, divide roles, and shift the pace of pursuit like a living machine. The chase accelerates, endurance worn down mile after mile across frozen ground. And when the circle finally closes, the reason becomes clear why the most unsettling force is the silence before the final convergence. Wolves represent the power of the pack, a predator that dominates nearly every North American landscape, from the frozen regions of Alaska to the open plains of Wyoming. Weighing between 80 and 110 pounds and reaching nearly 5 feet in length, their bodies are built for endurance in temperatures that fall below -40 degrees Fahrenheit. But their decisive advantage does not lie in physical size. It lies in a formation that operates as a single, unified system. Each individual moves in precise coordination, applying constant pressure through long pursuits that can stretch across miles. In the natural world, wolves succeed through discipline, not through chaos. Bison are the resilient giants of the North American plains. With massive bodies weighing up to 2,000 pounds, they possess the strength needed to endure brutal winters. When deep snow blankets the land, bison are forced to use their powerful neck muscles and shoulders rising nearly 6 feet high to push aside snow each day, exposing scarce patches of dry grass to sustain life. But as hunger and cold gradually drain the herd's strength, another threat quietly emerges against the white landscape. It is a wolf pack of roughly 25 individuals, led by an experienced alpha, entering the hunt. As the bison move into open ground in search of safety, the wolves begin to spread out, carefully testing the strength of the defensive wall. Armed with sharp horns nearly 12 inches long, the bison stand ready to repel any reckless approach, forcing the predators to hesitate and pull back time and again. Yet persistence is the wolf's most dangerous weapon. The pack maintains constant pressure, spreading confusion through coordinated vocalizations and feigned advances, slowly weakening the defensive formation. In the chaos of the stampede, a young calf is unintentionally separated from the protective ring and immediately left exposed. Through relentless coordination and precise timing, functioning like a living machine, the wolves wear down the massive opponent through a prolonged battle of endurance. The final outcome provides vital nourishment for the pack over many days, while reinforcing the harsh yet awe-inspiring rhythm of nature, where survival is always earned through extraordinary effort. This is not merely a hunt, but a high-level contest of survival between species that have evolved alongside one another for thousands of generations. Across the frozen tundra of North America, massive caribou herds move silently like a living current. They are a cornerstone of the tundra ecosystem, carrying out migrations that span hundreds of miles and forming herds that can number in the hundreds of thousands. Each adult weighs around 700 pounds, with wide, splayed hooves that function like snowshoes, allowing them to cross ice and sustain remarkable endurance throughout the unforgiving journey. Yet that very endurance makes caribou a critical winter target for wolves. Cold winds carry the scent of individuals beginning to weaken. Instinct quickly draws the predator's focus toward calves or aging members whose energy is fading. Hunting caribou demands immense effort, so wolves are forced to select targets that can be brought down efficiently. The encounter begins when uneven terrain stretches the herd's formation and breaks it into smaller groups, the exact moment the predators wait for. Wolves actively create disruption, turning the herd's unity into scattered fragments. In the confusion, vulnerable individuals gradually become exposed. The wolves close the distance, delivering precise pressure at critical weak points while skillfully avoiding defensive movements that could prove fatal. In the end, instinct and endurance secure the wolf's success. This food source sustains the entire pack, nourishing younger members waiting in sheltered areas. But on the tundra, there is no absolute ending, only the continuation of the survival cycle, where the close of one pursuit becomes the beginning of another. In the unforgiving far north, where food is as scarce as warmth itself, the survival of a wolf pack, especially its young, depends on discipline and precise coordination. To raise the pups before snow returns, these gray hunters must scan territories spanning hundreds of square miles, where even the faintest scent carried on the wind can mean hope. Today's target is the Arctic hare, an athlete of the ice capable of reaching speeds close to 37 miles per hour, highly abundant and remarkably adapted to the cold. Even when temperatures fall below -40 degrees Fahrenheit, its white fur allows it to nearly vanish against the snow. The chase is not simply a test of speed, but a contest of strategy. A single sharp zigzag turn allows the hare to change direction and slip away in an instant. Immediately, the wolves adjust their approach, splitting into two flanking paths, cutting off escape routes, and forcing the prey into a narrow corridor. Persistence and calm, synchronized movement gradually shift the balance toward the hunters. The reward may be small compared to the size of the pack, but it provides vital energy to endure the winter and sustain the next generation. In the vast cold, wolves understand one truth. Survival does not belong to the strongest, but to those who know when to rely on one another. In the snow-covered mountain forests and valleys of North America, elk stand as symbols of strength and vigilance. A fully grown adult weighs around 700 pounds, with long legs and large lungs that allow sustained movement across steep terrain and deep snow. Above their heads, broad, multi-point antlers serve both as a sign of maturity and as a formidable defensive tool, forcing predators to keep their distance. But dense forests and soft snow give wolves the advantage. They do not attack immediately. Instead, they shadow the elk herd, applying pressure through short advances to test reactions. Gradually, the focus shifts to the slowest individual, an adult bull weakened by an injury to a hind leg. In response, the elk moves toward an icy river where restricted terrain limits speed and turns the antlers into a final line of defense. The wolves remain patient, holding back as time and cold steadily drain the elk's strength. The pursuit ends when exhaustion takes over. In the valleys of Yellowstone, a vital winter refuge for elk, winter transforms the landscape into a struggle for survival. Wolves hunt with strategy, using the speed and endurance of younger members to concentrate pressure on vulnerable targets. In short bursts, they can reach speeds close to 35 miles per hour, rapidly closing the gap. Within minutes, the chase concludes, providing essential sustenance for the entire pack. Yet not every success comes from direct pursuit. At times, chance favors the wolves. A lone elk wanders into bison territory and becomes caught in confusion as the larger animals react. The wolves wait silently. When the bison move on, leaving behind an exhausted elk, the predators step forward to claim the opportunity, a victory shaped by patience, terrain, and perfectly coordinated instinct. At the forest's edge, where wind-scoured snow hardens into icy ridges, a tense standoff begins between two symbols of dominance. An adult grizzly weighs around 660 pounds, with claws nearly 4 inches long, and a single swing is enough to force any challenger to retreat. Facing that raw power, the lead wolf understands that closing in is a calculated risk. But walking away would mean the entire pack endures another freezing night without food. bear is strongest in a straight confrontation, but the tight space between brush and fallen timber favors agility. The wolf does not rush into direct conflict. It draws attention with controlled advances, then pulls back at precise moments. 3 other wolves peel off to the sides, creating just enough disturbance to keep the bear turning, slowly breaking its focus. With one brief opening, the pack shifts without a sound. The wolf holding attention maintains the pressure, while the others seize the opportunity to secure food and retreat beyond reach. On the snow, overlapping tracks trace a tactical pattern left behind. In the wild, strength forms the wall. Strategy opens the door. As winter tightens its grip, survival belongs to those who coordinate and read the moment. And the next encounter is always waiting just beyond the turn of the wind. Wild dogs charge into the hunt like a storm. No hesitation, no retreat. The pack tightens the ring, cutting off every escape route, step by step locking down the target. On the savannah, the line between life and survival is brutally fragile. One moment too slow, and the hunter can become the hunted. There is no detour, no space left to break free, only the instinct to survive. Why does a small hunting pack make the entire savannah tremble? African wild dogs are among the most efficient social predators in the world. They live in tightly bonded packs, typically ranging from 6 to more than 20 individuals, where every member has a clearly defined role in movement, pursuit, and vigilance. Their strength does not come from size, but from the ability to run for miles under heat exceeding 100 degrees Fahrenheit while maintaining formation. Large ears help release heat, long legs are optimized for endurance, and strict pack discipline turns them into a highly adaptable survival force. Each year, the East African savanna becomes the stage for one of the largest migrations on the planet. Millions of wildebeest cross open grasslands in search of fresh grazing and seasonal water, forming a massive flow that carries both opportunity and danger. Wild dogs do not rush into this dense moving mass. Instead, they spread out, quietly turning dusty pathways into an invisible trap, one where escape cannot be achieved with a single burst of speed. The pursuit can last up to 30 minutes. The pack focuses on isolating one individual, gradually separating it from the protection of the herd. The prey's heart rate is driven to its limit as muscles steadily fatigue. This endurance-based strategy allows wild dogs to reach hunting success rates of up to 80%, the highest among large predators on the savannah. Wildebeest, however, are not easily overcome. When pressured, a male may turn to face the threat, lowering horns that can span nearly 25 inches to push back. At close range, even a small misjudgment can place a wild dog in danger. For this reason, wild dogs do not act recklessly. They maintain distance, stay in constant motion, and wait for brief openings to weaken the target. Each hunt becomes a sequence of decisions, whether to continue applying pressure or to withdraw, where success comes not from risk-taking, but from precise judgment. If crocodiles are the specters beneath the water, lions embody power on land. An adult male lion, weighing around 500 pounds, is not just a predator, but a moving mass of strength. In the competition for every square mile of the savannah, wild dogs, each weighing roughly 60 pounds, understand that speed and pack tactics alone cannot balance such raw power. To lions, wild dogs are not prey, but a disruptive presence within territorial order. A sudden charge follows, not driven by hunger, but by the assertion of control. In regions with high lion density, this constant pressure is enough to reduce the wild dog's ability to sustain their young, a quiet form of natural elimination within the cycle of survival. The roar of the king of the savannah, audible up to 5 miles away, serves as a declaration of dominance, forcing other predators to remain cautious. Yet the story does not end with strength alone. When faced with immediate danger, wild dogs do not choose confrontation. They read tracks, listen for distant roars, and flexibly adjust their routes to avoid high-risk areas. Wild dogs survive through adaptability and collective discipline, sometimes through deliberate restraint before the ruler of the savannah. If strength creates power, then intelligence determines who remains in the game. On the open savannah, impalas symbolize speed and vigilance. With an average weight of around 150 pounds, they move in large herds. When changing direction, an impala can leap up to 10 feet into the air, comparable to clearing a tall wall. For wild dogs, this is familiar prey, but never an easy one. African wild dogs, among the continent's most efficient predators, with success rates reaching up to 80%, understand the cost and limits of explosive speed. Their strategy is endurance. The pursuit begins with steady pressure across miles of terrain, forcing the impala to maintain a pace beyond its physiological limits. As lactic acid gradually builds in the prey's muscles, every turn of the landscape and every passing mile slowly becomes an inescapable outcome for the exhausted runner. An intense wild dog pack chase unfolds as the antelope attempts to escape toward water. The hunt reaches its decisive phase as exhaustion sets in. While the prey still has strength to resist, the wild dogs do not rush in. They deliberately leave a single escape route, guiding the impala toward shallow water. Here, the powerful leaps that once ensured survival lose their advantage against mud and resistance. In contrast, the wild dogs, skilled swimmers, quietly close the distance to the final few yards. The prey rapidly weakens as escape routes disappear. The chase ends efficiently as the pack works together to pull the impala back to solid ground. There is no display of excess force, only an energy-efficient strategy executed with precision. Success does not belong to the fastest runner, but to those who choose the right place to bring the pursuit to an end. African wetlands are crossroads for hunting routes. Wild dogs, endurance-driven hunters of the savannah, come here to quench their thirst and track food. Beneath the murky water, a crocodile weighing around 1,200 pounds lies motionless, exposing only its eyes as it surveys the surroundings. The two species rarely seek each other out, but sharing the same space makes encounters difficult to avoid. In heat climbing past 100 degrees Fahrenheit, survival instincts begin to outweigh caution. A single misstep in the mud can draw a wild dog into an ambush zone. In water, the crocodile holds complete control. Powerful jaws capable of exerting up to 3,700 psi clamp down, pulling the target into an environment where every advantage disappears. The encounter ends as quickly as it begins, leaving still water behind and a silent lesson for those remaining on the shore. Even after the pack has brought down a catch, danger does not fade. If the reward lies too close to the water's edge, a sudden strike can occur, snatched away and gone beneath the murky surface, leaving the pack unable to respond. Only when the ambusher is drawn away from its familiar environment does the balance truly shift. On dry ground, wild dogs use speed, agility, and numbers to gain the upper hand, forcing the opponent to withdraw. It is a reminder that on the savannah, no hunter is invincible once it steps beyond its own territory. At the edge of the savannah, baboons are primates with complex social structures, often gathering in troops of 10 or more individuals. An adult can weigh around 90 pounds, equipped with long canines and an aggressive temperament. With elevated vantage points and the backing of the group, baboons turn tree clusters into near impenetrable strongholds. The wild dog pack quickly recognizes the danger posed by the opposition. They do not rush into a direct confrontation, where a single strike from a baboon could deliver immense force to the torso. Instead, the pack keeps its distance, spreading out to probe for weaknesses. The baboons hold their ground, using their larger bodies and the advantage of trees to respond forcefully, pushing the dogs back. patience soon pays off for the wild dogs. The opening appears when a younger individual falls behind and drifts outside the protective circle. A brief, precise closing move follows. The encounter ends swiftly, leaving only delayed commotion in its wake. A powerful dash cuts through the air, locking onto the target in a single breath. On the African savannah, a ruler accustomed to victory does not always remain in control. The moment the prey pushes back with force, the advantage instantly shifts, turning the hunter into the one paying the price for its own confidence. In nature, a slight miscalculation is enough to shatter every plan. This is the moment when the hunt becomes a reversed trap. Lions are often referred to as the kings of the savannah and are seen as standing at the top of the food chain. An adult male lion weighs around 500 pounds, possessing powerful muscles and explosive strength that make many species cautious. However, that dominant status is not a guarantee of absolute safety. In the wild, the line between advantage and vulnerability is always more fragile than appearances suggest. On the same savanna, zebras are not easy targets either. Without horns or fangs, they carry a dangerous weapon behind them. A kick from powerful hind legs, supported by hooves hard as stone, can generate an impact force of up to about 3,000 psi. When a herd detects a predator, the first response is to flee. And a young zebra weighing around 150 pounds, still unsteady on its feet, can easily fall behind and become a target. In the moment of close pursuit, the mother pivots and delivers a direct kick, enough to break the attack's momentum and shield the young. That brief counterstrike creates a vital opening for the next generation to survive. At times, zebras also bite back, using their body weight to disrupt attacks from claws measuring about 2 inches long. In the end, this determined resistance forces the predator to retreat. Across the open savanna, giraffes rise like living landmarks. Standing over 18 feet tall, weighing roughly 2,600 pounds, and moving with a calm, unhurried presence, they are often seen by lions as potential targets. Facing prey of such immense size, a pride must work together, closing in and attempting to restrain the legs to disrupt balance. When pushed into a position with no retreat, the giraffe pivots its massive frame and delivers a backward kick from hind legs nearly 6 feet long, striking directly at the attacker's confidence. The counter happens in an instant, enough to force the lion to withdraw, and in some cases, the cost is the permanent loss of hunting capability. It is a clear reminder that on the savannah, even the king must remain cautious in the face of the defensive strength of giants that appear gentle at first glance. When encountering a rhinoceros, a lion enters one of the riskiest confrontations on the savannah. With a massive body weighing roughly twice as much as a giraffe and skin about 2 inches thick, the rhinoceros resembles a living tank of the savannah. A direct approach is nearly impossible, forcing the lion to rely on speed to probe for weakness along the flank. Yet a single pivot from the rhinoceros is enough to instantly shift the situation. A horn, extending over 30 inches, formed from dense keratin, quickly becomes a powerful tool of defense. Under heat nearing 100 degrees Fahrenheit, as stamina drains rapidly, the lion is compelled to retreat under direct pressure, choosing to abandon the hunt to avoid an uncontrollable risk. With African buffalo, lionesses often must work together as a group to find an opening. Yet the buffalo's instinct to protect its own becomes the most formidable counterforce. An adult bull carries horns that are hard and wide like a shield. Instead of fleeing, it is willing to charge straight towards the predator. Impacts powerful enough to lift a lion standing 5 to 6 feet tall off the ground. In many cases, the entire herd gathers, forming a moving wall of horns that pushes the lions into a reversed position of pressure. Under that force, the predators quickly lose room to engage and are compelled to retreat to higher ground, a rare moment when the balance of survival shifts. Leopards embody intelligence and exceptional adaptability. Weighing only around 150 pounds, they possess remarkable strength and superior climbing skill. Powerful jaws allow them to haul prey, weighing twice their own body mass up into tree branches nearly 20 feet high, preventing it from being taken by others. Yet behind this advantage lies the cost of a solitary lifestyle. Without the support of a group, every hunt becomes a survival gamble that the leopard must bear alone. Although leopards often target young individuals, they rarely account for the reaction of an entire wildebeest herd. When the pounce is launched and the leopard's claws barely make contact with the prey's hide, the protective instinct of the mother immediately ignites. In that instant, the predator realizes it is no longer facing a single target, but the fierce force of maternal defense. Under the threat of a counterattack, the leopard is compelled to withdraw, leaving behind a valuable meal, a necessary cost to preserve its own survival. Along the edges of brush and earthen burrows, leopards often lie in wait for young warthogs, making them an important food source. But when facing a fully grown warthog, that approach immediately becomes a high-risk challenge. The key factor lies in its distinctive curved tusks, reaching up to about 20 inches in length, hardened through repeated confrontations. Instead of fleeing, the warthog lowers its center of gravity and counters head-on, driving its full body mass into upward thrusts. The combination of forward momentum and rigid tusks creates a serious risk of injury for the predator. Confronted with an opponent that is resilient and willing to fight back, the leopard is forced to disengage. The encounter ends not with victory, but with a survival choice, recognizing that this is a gamble not worth continuing. At the edge of tall grasslands, where a buffalo herd moves like an armored formation, the leopard watches from the shade, searching for an opening. Its gaze locks onto a calf weighing about 80 pounds, standing roughly 20 feet from the protective ring. Seizing the moment, the predator bursts forward, dragging the target toward the brush. But a distress signal instantly triggers a herd response. Adult buffalo weighing up to 2,000 pounds rapidly converge, forming a solid wall of horns. Under mounting pressure and trembling ground, the leopard releases its grip and springs up a tree nearly 15 feet high, choosing retreat in the face of a fortress that solitary claws cannot break through. In open woodlands and rocky slopes, baboons are not easy prey to overpower. An adult weighs around 60 to 90 pounds, equipped with long canines and a powerful bite. Yet their true strength lies in numbers. When a leopard reveals itself, the troop immediately rallies, sends out warning signals, and shifts into a defensive formation. From elevated positions, they rush down together, combining sharp teeth and strong forelimbs to apply direct pressure that makes close access difficult for the predator. Faced with the risk of being surrounded from multiple directions, the leopard is often forced to retreat. For a solitary hunter, the unity of such opponents is a risk not worth taking. In a world defined by speed, the cheetah is regarded as the fastest land animal, capable of accelerating to nearly 70 miles per hour within seconds. Yet on the savannah, speed alone does not always guarantee success. When a female cheetah targets a Grant's gazelle, the hunt takes an unexpected turn. At the moment of close engagement, control does not unfold as planned. Instead of fleeing, the gazelle turns to face the threat, using explosive power, strong muscles, and sharp horns to resist. The impact forces the cheetah to break off, disrupting its acceleration, the one advantage it depends on for survival. The hunt ends in failure. On the savannah, a cheetah that can no longer sustain top speed loses its edge, where even a minor deviation is enough to reverse the roles between hunter and prey. On steep mountain slopes, A female puma, weighing about 130 pounds, takes a life-or-death gamble by attacking an adult guanaco. A camelid standing up to 7 feet tall and weighing nearly 3 times as much. To bring down such a massive target, the puma must attempt to control the neck area. However, the guanaco's muscular strength proves to be a major obstacle. In the moment of struggle, the guanaco's body power allows it to drag the predator several feet, breaking the hold and creating space to escape. Although the young attempt to assist, they lack the weight required to restrain the target. In the end, the failure leaves lasting consequences and pushes the dependent young toward the risk of hunger in an unforgiving wilderness. After all the tense moments that have just unfolded, the grizzly bear remains standing firm in the wild. Without noise, its presence alone is enough to speak for its place. Every encounter eventually settles back into the rhythm of nature. And this journey does not end here. For those who wish to continue following along, remember to like, subscribe, and stay with the channel for upcoming videos.